Well, as Diane mentioned at the top of the half hour, we're going to talk about a rash of bank robberies. According to the FBI, they are on the rise. In fact, every 52 minutes another bank is robbed. Most of these heists amateurish, but a frightening robbery was caught on tape this week in the nation's capital, throwing new light on a crime wave sweeping the country. This was the terrifying scene this week outside a Washington, D.C. bank, all caught on tape. 3 men with assault rifles can be seen running from the bank they had just robbed. A woman finds herself in the middle of the action and quickly gets away. The suspects then flee in a stolen van. Footage of the incredibly brazen bank hit was captured by a Fox TV cameraman who just happened to be across the street when the robbery began. Minutes later, the getaway van is discovered engulfed in flames. The suspects by that point nowhere in sight.
These individuals are ruthless. We consider them very dangerous.
Police believe the group has hit at least 6 banks in the D.C. area this year for a total take of $370,000, and witnesses say they act with military precision. There were nearly 9,000 attempted bank robberies this year, and some jobs are more sophisticated than others. It's believed that 80% of those who try to knock off banks are amateurs. This 32-year-old stay-at-home mom from suburban Miami, who had no criminal record, she robbed a bank near her home in February. Just hours later, police arrested her at her comfortable home, the one she shares with her young children, and her husband, a police officer. In April, police in Austin, Texas, captured a robber dubbed the Cowboy Bandit after he tried to rob the same bank for the second time in 1 month. So much for not returning to the scene of the crime. And joining us from Phoenix, Arizona, is a man who knows how bank robbers think because he was one. Troy Evans served 7.5 years in federal prison for 5 armed bank robberies, but he turned his life around, and since his release in 1999, he's been advising bankers on how to defeat robbers. Troy, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Charlie. Good to be here.
This is extraordinary video that came from Washington, this bank robbery, as we watch these guys who were masked and looked very professional about what they did. Do you have any idea about these guys? Any theories as to who they might be?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. As was indicated earlier, your typical bank robber is an individual who's acting out of an act of desperation. These guys obviously are more organized, a little more sophisticated. My guess or my theory would be probably associated with some kind of gang, mob activity. They definitely are casing these institutions to a greater extent than your normal would-be robbers. So, yeah, they are out of the norm.
I mentioned 80% of bank robberies done by amateurs. Can you put them in categories as to what kind of people are doing this?
Yeah, it's been my experience, having, of course, been in the business one time myself and having met and, quote, interviewed over 300 convicted bank robbers. I found some real common threads, and what I found is the great majority of them are either strung out on drugs, they're feeding a habit, they have a gambling debt they're looking to pay, they have a house that's going to be foreclosed on. It's very much an act of desperation. It's not as Hollywood portrays it, glamorous, Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger type of thing. It's very much somebody that's living out of the gutter from hotel to hotel, that type of thing.
Now, I know one of the things you do is advise banks on how they can prevent bank robberies, and I'm curious what it is that you tell bank chains and bank managers.
Well, mine is a story of prevention, apprehension, and recovery. The main thing, what we want to try to do is prevent the would-be robbers from coming into their institution to begin with. And it's my belief that the best line of defense starts with the employees. If the employees are aware and very keen to their surroundings and what's going on, they can prevent a robber from coming into their institution and moving down the street to another institution. A bank robber will always take the path of least resistance, and they really need to be aware of what's going on around them. Every bank is cased to some extent, whether it be somebody walking by several times, coming in, handing a teller a $10 bill and asking for a roll of quarters, maybe a little more sophisticated, timing patrol cars when they come by. But if employees are aware and write down suspicious activities, customers that maybe they don't recognize, great customer service, go up, extend a hand to them, say, you know, what can I do for you today? The last thing a would-be robber wants is somebody to get a good look at their face. So great customer service, and at the same time, an opportunity to deter that person from choosing your institution.
All right, thanks very much, Troy Evans. That's interesting. It is the bank employees who are really the first line of defense, maybe even more important than all those surveillance cameras and technology. Troy Evans, thanks for joining us this morning. All right, let's go to the weather now and Tony Perkins.
Oh,